Yes, people, how's it going? Welcome back to Lily White Lane. Hope you're all doing good, hope you're keeping safe and well, and hope you're having a fantastic and a smashing Friday. And we do have a lot to talk about. On this quite nice Friday afternoon, to be fair. We're going to be talking about nicolo Barella potentially moving to Spurs from Inter Milan. We're going to be talking about a potential overreaction in the fan base to the Sporting Lisbon loss away. And we're going to be talking about the upcoming game for Tottenham Hotspur this Saturday afternoon against Leicester City. And like I say, I wish anyone going to this game the best of luck. And I pray that all the Spurs fans going to this game and even Leicester fans get there on time, because bloody hell, London is going to be chaos this weekend. It's going to be mental. Now, whatever cause you're going to London for, if you are this weekend, whether it's the sad passing of Queen Elizabeth II and her funeral, whether it's a football game, London's going to be mayhem. It's going to be absolute mayhem. So I wish anyone going to London for any reason this weekend all the best, and I hope that all of you do get there in time for whatever the cause you are going to London for is. But look, let's start things off by talking about nicolo Barella, the current Inter Milan central defensive midfielder. Has been at Inter Milan for a few years now, still a young player. I believe he's only 23, 24. Look, he's already pretty much Italy captain. This guy is fantastic. He's an absolutely fantastic player. I think he'd fit into that midfield so well. Now, I'm really hoping Bissouma does. And look, I think he will. I think he will eventually fit into that midfield. But at the minute, we're lacking someone who can really hold up play, which makes it easy for us to get countered. Counter, as Sean Dyche says. But when we're counter-attacking, it makes it easier for our opposition to counter-attack us, because we don't really have anyone holding up play. Yes, Hojbjerg is a defensive midfielder and Bentancur is a defensive midfielder, or more of a defensive than attacking, but they've been going forward a lot recently in Conte's games. I think Barella, he's got a fantastic forward pass on him. He plays some brilliant passes. And it's not a case of, he plays in Serie A. Can he prove it in the Premier League? He's proved it at the highest standard and the highest level in an Italy team that, let's be honest, wasn't that brilliant. As players like Bonucci and Chiellini still in there, who are in their mid-30s and definitely past it. But look, this guy was at least, along with the likes of Spinazzola and Federico Chiesa, this guy was probably their standout player in their campaign to winning the Euros. But look, he's done a fantastic job at Inter. It's not a case of whether I take him at Spurs. It's a case of will we be willing to put in a bid. This guy, look, I'd value him around 60 to 70 million. You always know if you've got a top player who's valued around that by the rest of the clubs, the actual club who has that player is going to value him at about 100, 110 million. So let's wait and see if we are willing to pay that in the January transfer window, if not next summer. But look, it's an interesting transfer rumour. You don't get many interesting transfer rumours when there's not a transfer window on. But like I say, Conte Italian, there's that Italian connection. There's that Inter Milan connection. Conte knows the player. He's fantastic. I think he'd really work, and especially in Conte's style of play, because he's played the same sort of stuff he is now at Spurs at Inter Milan. So look, let me know your thoughts and opinions on nicolo Barella. Would you take him at Spurs, or do you think otherwise? Do you think our midfield's strong enough and we need to target other positions? Let me know in the comments section down below. And let's move on, as I say, to Tottenham Hotspur versus Leicester. Let's be honest, we really should be winning this game. We really should be winning this game. Leicester, bottom of the league at the minute, all over the place. Rodgers basically asking for himself to be sacked. They're a shambles of a club. And like I said I'll mention the overreaction. I think there's been a major overreaction on Twitter and all social media platforms to our loss to Lisbon. It's one loss in the Champions League, and already people are bringing up questions such as, is Conte good enough? And people debating Conte's future as a Spurs manager. We lost one game in the Champions League. One game in the group stage to the Portuguese champions, who are a really decent side, which have some great up-and-coming players. Yes, we probably shouldn't have lost it, but it's one loss to a manager who took us from 9th in the league last season and got us in the Champions League, and the memories we made last season. And some of you idiots are already asking for him to be sacked. Like, idiot's probably a strong word because everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but people who are saying Conte out, which I've seen a little bit on Twitter, I think you need to really rethink the situation and think if you're a true Tottenham Hotspur fan, all the managers we've had, and that the problem's never been the manager. And this is another thing, people going, the problem, what's the problem, what's the problem? There isn't a major problem. We've lost one game to Sporting Lisbon and people are going, what's the problem at Spurs? Is it ENIC? Is it, ENIC out and blah, 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 Conte out, the players out and blah, blah, blah. We lost one game. One game in the Champions League. For crying out loud. I don't understand this conversation. It's way too early in the season. Way too early in the season for that. If we lose at Leicester, then you can start bringing up questions because they're bottom of the league and there's no way we should be losing that question. Whoever you ask question of, whether it be the owners, the players, but losing to the Portuguese champions, there's no real shame in that. There isn't. We probably should have done better in that game. I don't think it was a 2-0 game. That's my opinion. They took their chances. We didn't. Got to move on to the next game. And that next game is Leicester. Leicester this weekend. As far as the lineup goes, I think it's really getting to a point now where it's ridiculous. And I'm not going to rant about Conte, but his stubbornness gets ridiculous sometimes. And he makes us as fans start to question, like Jed Spence and Bissouma and players like this. Does he really like those players? You know, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I don't understand it. But look, I didn't really like Conte on the sideline against Sporting Lisbon. As much as I've just said, blah, blah, blah about this. One game. Yeah, I stand by that. But I didn't like the fact he was losing his shit with Emerson when you're the guy who's consistently picking him and he isn't doing well enough. Play Spence. Switch it up. If we lose a game against Leicester and we start Spence, put Bissouma in the midfield, potentially even a skip, start Longley at centre-back, which I don't know why we didn't do in the week against Lisbon, put Kulusevski over Son, and then we go on and lose, then you start to question, okay, is our squad good enough as a whole? But at the minute, we're not utilising players that we bought in the summer. And it's not because they're not good enough, because they are. Spence is a very, very good player. He's proven it against Premier League opposition. Bissouma, in my opinion, is one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. Kulusevski, and yes, Son's class. And I understand Conte's got a great relationship with him, but there comes a time when it's like, you've got to forget about the knocking confidence thing. I don't think it would knock his confidence. I think it would do his confidence a world of good, if I'm being honest. But there comes a time when you've got to be... I'm not as fussed about knocking his confidence if he's going to keep costing us points by missing huge chances. It's not like he hasn't had the service. He could have scored a couple times against Fulham. He could have scored against Lisbon, could have scored against Forest, could have scored against Southampton, And it is questionable. So look, I think Conte's got to be brave. I think he's got to play Richarlison and Kulusevski. And I think Richarlison already has some good link-up play with Kane. I think all three of those would really link up well together. And that's what I'd like to see. That's what I'd like to see against Leicester. Score prediction for Leicester. I do think we will go on and win it. I think Leicester will probably turn up, as strange as that is, like they haven't all season. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they got a draw. Score prediction, I'm going to go 2-0 Spurs. I think we will keep a clean sheet if we start Longley. I think Maddison could pose a threat. He always can when he wants to turn it on. Patson Daka, Jamie Vardy, the ultimate Brexit shithouse striker in the Premier League. They've got some fantastic players, but there's something not right in that club at the minute. We need to take advantage, man. No, we need to take advantage. Because, yes, we're coming to the North London derby with all the confidence. But our next game's Arsenal. Arsenal top of the league, and Arsenal were playing some very, very nice stuff, as they call him, under Super Mick Arteta, who's failed 3 years in a row and got them 2 8th place finishes and a 5th place finish where they lost out to their main rivals. But they still love calling him Super Mick Arteta. But look, They are looking pretty super this season. Well, not super, but they're looking quite good. They're playing some decent football. They're getting the job done. They're playing who's in front of them. They're getting the job done comfortably in games. Playing better football than us. Yes, do I think they'll finish above us? Don't take the piss. But look, I think that game, especially if it was at home, but away at the Emirates, we don't have a good record there at all. If we lose this game or drop points in this game and then drop points against Arsenal, bang, we're down in 10th. Just like that. And we've got a chance today to take advantage. Or tomorrow, because Chelsea and Liverpool, both of their games have been postponed, right? They're both in the mid-table. If we go on and win our game, and Arsenal win their game against Brentford, Manchester United aren't even playing, but if we win, if Arsenal win this weekend, if Manchester City win, as I say, I think that could make things a lot more interesting, because then clubs like Chelsea and Liverpool are going, okay, yes, we've got a game in hand over those teams, but look at the points difference. So they might start to sacrifice things. They might start to feel a little bit nervous looking at where they are in the table. So look, it's going to be interesting to see what happens this season. It's so back and forth. Arsenal as a whole look good. I think we as a whole look good, and City as a whole look good. Liverpool, Chelsea, Manchester United, I think they're all hot and cold. I think they can all turn it on their day. I think United's defence at the minute has been fantastic in recent games. I think Liverpool can turn it. All three of those teams can really turn it on, but they're hot and cold. There's little issues at each of those clubs. So look, we'll see what happens, but we've got to take all 3 points at Leicester. Let me know your score prediction and your thoughts on the Nicolo Barella transfer. Thank you for watching this video. Take care of yourselves. All the best. God bless. Have a smashing weekend. The Premier League is back. Come on, you Spurs. In Conte, we trust. See that there? I did that. Bang, the Harry Kane celebration.